Vasa Pravuntata Janavatar Chaitanya Lila Vistar Karino Do Nityananda Kadabja Karunadena Bushito Vyakta Chino Budachincho Vavande Vyasadutino Shri Guru Gaur Gandharva Govindascha Ganaisaha Jayanti Patakas Ch.Ch. Sarvesham Gurunartino. So we are here with our beautiful community, West London, United Kingdom, and and the devotees they've come to the end of this pastime. Madhya Lila chapter 5, the activities of Shakshi Gopal. Shakshi meaning witness, the witness Gopal. And it's a very intriguing pastime. I struggled with it in the beginning because I couldn't understand, how, like this was involving something which appears ordinary, a marriage, So why would the Brahmin, engage the Lord in having to testify on something like apparently mundane, But actually, we have to understand that the point of this is not that this Brahmin wants to get married, but the point is actually his concern for his friend, the other Brahmin, upholding the truth and keeping his word, for his benefit. That is the point, not that he's actually trying to get something, but for the sake of truth and for the benefit of his friend. But I think the most essential point about this pastime is that it just demonstrates what kind of affection the Lord has for his devotees. That he, he's coming to act as a witness, in the affairs of his dear devotee. He's willing, to testify on behalf of his devotee. And why? Because of the love of his devotee. So this is an axiomatic principle of devotion, that the Lord is subdued by the pure love of his devotees. That is the power of pure devotion. Shri Krishna Karshini Cha Aham Bhakta Pradino Yasvatancha Iva Dvija Sarubir Bhakta Hridayo Bhakter Bhakta Janapriya. It is as if, the Lord says, it is as if I have no independence. I am bound by the love of my devotee. So this is really the most striking thing about this chapter. The Lord himself, leaves his, in his deity form also, because, it's also demonstrating how the great devotees, they can actually engage with the deity form of the Lord. We cannot see the real form of the deity. We cannot communicate with the deity, but the higher level Vaishnavas, they can, and we saw some glimpses of that with Srila Gurudev. So for one whose devotional heart is awakened, they can talk with the deity. The deity will walk for them. So for them, the deity can walk, the deity can talk. And they're having a relationship. So it's very, very, very beautiful pastime. And that deity is now in Cuttack, I believe, right? Which is next to Puri. So Mahaprabhu, so to put everything in context, Mahaprabhu is on his way to Puri. He's received sannyas. So Mahaprabhu has received sannyas, and now he is he spent some days in Shantipur at the home of Advaita Acharya, and then his mother requested that he make his base in Puri, which is not too far from Navadvip, and there's always pilgrims going back and forth on that route, so it wouldn't be too difficult for her to receive news. So Mahaprabhu's left Shantipur and he's on his way to Puri Shri Puri Dham, Jagannath Puri Dham, Nilachal. And on the way, first they stop in where is it called? The place of the Ch.Ch Gopinath? What is it called? That Ramuna, yes. On the way they first stop in Ramuna, and there Mahaprabhu tells the story of Madhavenjapuri, which is very wonderful. And next week is actually the disappearance day of Madhavenjapuri. I believe on like Thursday or something like that. So we'll be remembering His Divine Grace more next week. And then they come to, I think, Katak, or what is now called, it's also called Katak here. And then Nityananda Prabhu tells the story about this deity. So that in Ramuna, Mahaprabhu tells the story of the deity there, Chirakor. And that it's very sweet, because like the names of these deities, they're indicating, how they are bound by the love of their devotees. Kirachor Gopinath means Gopinath who stole the sweet rice, for his devotee. And then Shakshi, and then Nityananda Prabhu tells the story of Shakshi Gopal, witness Gopal, who acted as a witness for the sake of his devotee. The Lord, He likes this. He likes to be known in relation to His devotees, in connection with His devotees. There's, like some of the songs that we sing, they give so many names of the Lord. Gadadhara Madana Nitayera Pranadana Advaitara Prabhujita Gora. These are all like names of the Lord in relation to His devotees. He's the life and soul of Nitai, He's the Cupid of Gadadhar, like that. So anyhow, they reached Katak. Nityananda Prabhu tells the story of the Shakshi Gopal deity. And then they're continuing on their way to Sri Puri Dham. So thus, with great pleasure, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed that night in the temple. After seeing the Mangal Arati ceremony in the morning, he started on his journey. Bhuvaneshwar Patya Ch.Ch Koilo Dadashan Ishtadivani Achen Das Vrindavan. In his book Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has very vividly described the places visited by the Lord on the way to Bhuvaneshwar. Kamalapurayasi Barg. So in other words, I'm not going to go into detail here because Vrindavan Das has already done that. And the purport does, list some of the details given in Chaitanya Bhagavat.
What number is it for the verse?
141. That's where I think he's there already. Kamalapurayasi Bargi Nadi Snana Koilo Nityananda Hate Prabhu Danda Dorilo. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at Kamalpur, he took his bath in the Bargi Nadi river and left his sannyas staff in the hands of Lord Nityananda. Uh-oh. Big mistake. He gives his danda, his stick, his staff, to Nityananda Prabhu. This is a bad idea. Nityananda Prabhu is very unpredictable. Don't know what he's going to do.
Very good idea.
Kapateshwar dekite gela bhakta gana sange eta Nityananda Prabhu koilo danda bange. Danda banga. He broke the danda. Broke it. Tin kanda kori danda dilo bashaya bhakta sange aila Prabhu mahesh dekiya. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the temple of Lord Shiva, known as Kapoteshwar, Nityananda Prabhu, who was keeping his sannyas staff in custody, broke the staff in 3 parts and threw it into the river Bargi Nadi. Later, this river became known as the Danda Banga Nadi. So the place where where Mahaprabhu's danda was broken. And Nadi, I'm not exactly sure. Nadi means like a river, maybe. Purport: the mystery of the sannyas danda, staff of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been explained by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the order of sannyas from a Mayavadi sannyasi. The Mayavadi sannyasis generally carry one staff or danda. Taking advantage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's absence, Srila Nityananda Prabhu broke the staff into 3 parts and threw it into the river later known as the Danda Banga Nadi. In the sannyas order there are 4 divisions: Kuti Chaka, Bahudaka, Hamsa, and Parma Hamsa. Only when the sannyasi remains on the Kuti Chaka and Bahudaka platforms can he carry a staff. However, when one is elevated to the status of Hamsa or Paramahamsa after touring and preaching the Bhakti cult, he must give up the sannyas staff. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is therefore said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. 2 personalities, Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, are combined in the incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, considering Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be an extraordinary person, Lord Nityananda Prabhu did not wait for the Paramahamsa stage. He reasons that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is automatically on the Paramahamsa stage. Therefore, he does not need to carry the sannyas danda. This is the reason Nityananda Prabhu broke the staff into 3 pieces and threw it into the water. Jagannatte dula deki avishta hoila, dandavata kori preme nachite lagila. After seeing the temple of Jagannath from a distant place, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately became ecstatic. After offering obeisances to the temple, he began to dance in the ecstasy of love of God. Bhaktagan avishta hoya, sabe nache gai, prema veshe prabhu sange raja marge jai. All the devotees became ecstatic in the association of Lord Chaitanya, and thus absorbed in love of God, they were dancing and singing while going along the main road. Ase kande nache prabhu hunkar gajan, tin krosh pata hoila sahasra yojan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu laughed, cried, danced, and made many ecstatic vibrations and sounds. Although the temple was only 6 miles away, to him the distance seemed thousands of miles. So in the purport here, Srila Swami Maharaj is pointing out that nowadays the temple is kind of obscured by many other buildings that are surrounding it. So if you're like 6 miles away, you wouldn't be able to see so clearly. But at that time, it was, it wasn't so, crowded around the temple. I think that's what he's saying. Anyhow, from this distance away, Mahaprabhu was seeing the temple. Cholite, cholite, Prabhu aila taranal, tahasi Prabhu kichu bhaja prakashila. Thus walking and walking, the Lord eventually arrived at the place known as Taranala. Arriving there, he expressed his external consciousness, speaking to Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Nityanande kohe Prabhu deho mora danda, Nityananda bole danda hoilo teen kanda. Uh-oh. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had thus regained external consciousness, and by this it means, because it's mentioned elsewhere, Mahaprabhu was always in between. He was always in one of three states, in his internal world, within the, his ecstatic trance. So like, not like engaging with the environment, not aware of his surroundings. And then he had another stage where he was like, like in the moment, in the circumstance, present and engaging, reciprocating with everyone. And then there was like a middle in between the two. So that's what's meant here. He went into some ecstasy when he saw the temple, and then he's coming back to his, environment. And with that consciousness, he addresses Nityananda. Oh, I would like my danda back. Thanks for carrying it. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had thus regained external consciousness, he asked Nityananda Prabhu, please return my staff. Nityananda Prabhu then replied, it has been broken into 3 parts. And then he tells a white lie. Nityananda Prabhu. Prema veshe podila tumi tomade dorino tomasa sedanda upade podino. Nityananda Prabhu said, when you fell down in ecstasy, I caught you. But both of us together fell upon the staff. Dui janar bode danda kanda kanda hoilo se kanda kaha podilo kichuna janilo. Thus the staff broke under our weight. Where the pieces have gone, I cannot say. Mora parade toma danda hoilo kanda, jayuchito hoi mor kodotar danda. It is certainly because of my offense that your staff was broken. Now you can punish me on this account as you think proper. Shunikichu Mahaprabhu Dukkha Prakashila Ishat Krod Korikichu Kohite Lagila. After hearing the story about how his staff had been broken, the Lord expressed a little sadness and displaying some anger, began to speak as follows. Ilochole animor sobe hita koila Sabe danda danchilo tahana dakila. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have all benefited me by bringing me to Nilachal. However, my only possession was that danda. That was my only possession, and you have not kept it. I just asked you to do one thing, and you couldn't do that. And it's my only possession, and now you've lost it. Tumi sab aage jaha Ishwar dekite, iba mi aage jai na jabo sahite. So all of you should go before or behind me to see Lord Jagannath. I shall not go with you. We cannot travel together. You can go ahead or you can go after me. I don't mind, but we're not going together. I'm sorry. This is over. Mukunda datta kohe Prabhu, tumi jaho aage. Amisa pache jabo na jabo tomar sange. Mukunda Dutt told Mahaprabhu, my Lord, you should go ahead and allow all the others to follow. We shall not go with you. Eto shuni Prabhu age cholila shigra gati bhujite na padeke ho dui Prabhu mati. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then began to walk very swiftly before all the other devotees. No one could understand the real purpose of the 2 lords, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Iho kene danda bange, teho kene bangai, bangaya krode teho ihake doshai. The devotees could not understand why Nityananda Prabhu broke the staff, why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu permitted him to do so, because that's another point. Like, obviously, Mahaprabhu is omniscient, and he could also consider, well, Nityananda is very, erratic, don't know what he's going to do, So actually, Mahaprabhu is saying here, allowed him to break his danda. So this is his leela, So no one could understand why Nityananda broke the staff, why Mahaprabhu allowed him to do so in the first place, or why, after permitting him, Mahaprabhu became angry. It's very mysterious. Danda Bangalile Paramagambhir Se Buje Duhar Pade Jar Bhakti dear. The pastime of the breaking of the staff is very deep. Only one whose devotion is fixed upon the lotus feet of the two lords can understand it. Brahmanya Deva Gopaler Mahimae Dhanya Nityananda Vaktaja Shota Shri Chaitanya. The glories of Lord Gopal, who is merciful to Brahmins, are very great. The narration of Shakshi Gopal was spoken by Nityananda Prabhu and heard by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport. There are 4 points of instruction one should consider in the story of Shakshi Gopal. First, the deity Archa Vigraha of Sri Gopal is eternally Satchidananda Vigraha, the transcendental form of the Lord. Second, the deity surpasses material regulative principles and extends the reality of transcendental principles. Third, one can be situated in a transcendental position after becoming a Brahmin, but as a Brahmin, one has to follow the regulative principles very strictly. Lastly, Brahmanya Dev indicates Sri Krishna himself, who is worshipped thus. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. This indicates that a devotee who is under the protection of Krishna is automatically situated as a Brahmin, and such a Brahmin is not illusioned. This is factual. So we hear this phrase, aprakrita Brahmins, because, we sometimes give Brahmins, we speak of them in negative terms sometimes. We must confess.
But you were just saying that the Brahmins are in a transcendental position, but they're in the Varnashram Dharma. That is not particularly...
Well, yeah. I mean, there's two forms of Brahmins, right? There's the Prakrita Brahmins, materialistic Brahmins, material Brahmins. And then there's a Prakrita Brahmins in a transcendental position.
Are they then Vaishnavas?
Sure. I mean, Vaishnava is a very general term, really. There's Brahmins there's not very many, but there's a few Brahmins in Goloka Vrindavan.
But that time of Shakshi Gopal, right?
Mm-hmm.
The old Brahmana, the whole family was Brahmana, but
Yeah.
he was a Vaishnava Brahmana. He was,
Yeah.
Vaishnava. So their family was also born in the Vaishnava family, but they were not really Vaishnava.
Yeah.
They were actually against his father's religious principles.
Yeah, for sure. They weren't really upholding the real nature of a Brahmin, No, I mean...
So what was the question?
So a Brahmana doesn't mean that
Right.
it is or Brahmana, by activities or wanting to be like that. It doesn't mean that is a Vaishnava. But here it was said a Brahmana is in in a transcendental position. But only if a Brahmana becomes a Vaishnava, he is in a transcendental position. Right?
Yes, of course, yeah, of course. But then Brahmin takes on a different meaning there. No? You know, all these qualities, they have their, you know, spiritual expression. So,
because they say, like in Goloka Vrindavan, the inhabitants of Raja, they are from the background is Vaishya.
yeah, they're Vaishya, yeah. But there's a few Brahmins. The Madhu Mangal is one, right? There's Madhu Mangal. There's a few. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mysterious thing.
Yeah.
But you see it in several places. Like, I was just hearing Gurudev the other day, and he was saying how, like, you know, Krishna likes the Brahmins. You know, he was talking about this verse. It mentions twice in this verse. Namo Brahmanya, Gurudev loved this verse. Namo Brahmanya Devaya, saying that I offer my respects to he who is the Lord of the Brahmins. Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Go, and then again it mentions Brahmins. Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. That, you know, and he who gives satisfaction to the cows and the Brahmins. So Gurudev was pointing out how twice it mentions Brahmins here. Jagad Hitaya Krishnaya. And then it's saying he gives satisfaction or pleasure to the world. Jagat. Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mysterious thing, but Krishna has some appreciation for Brahmins. But, you know, we have to understand that it's not referring to, you know, the material expression that we may see in this world, but the spiritual qualities that the Brahmins have, you know, Krishna appreciates. You know, like let's say adherence to truthfulness, you know. These kind of things, you know, purity.
And in that way, that maybe they are also more adapt to understand higher spiritual truth.
Yeah, I mean, they're the best. I mean, that's one way of seeing it. Yeah, that they should be the best situated to make the jump to Vaishnavism. That's not necessarily the case, because the real current is of devotion, and that can come from anywhere. But yes, from one line of approach, you know, yeah, they should be the ones who are, you know, because they've come to that point of consciousness, you know, of pure consciousness. You know, dismissing this material world. Their cultivation is pertaining to consciousness and spirit. You know, so
maybe in the Mayavadi conception. Yeah.
No, Mayavad is a more insidious idea. The Brahmin, like in terms of the Varnashram system, Brahmin it's like an innocent position. You know, it's like an abstract approach. The Vedas are abstract. You know, that's the truth. The Vedas they're abstract. They're pointing in the direction. You know, like Srila Sridhar Maharshi said something like 90% Brahman conception. Brahman isn't necessarily to be fixed on Brahman isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of an innocent position. It's different from Mayavad.
Right?
It's hazy, you know, it's hazy. You know, and many of these people, like Tyagi Maharaj told me about one of these kind of people who he met in Varanasi, and he wasn't a Mayavadi. He was like a Brahman worshipper, but his expression was, we don't know. We don't know what's beyond, like we'll find out, So, there's like some openness there. But
about the spirit, like it's
then, yeah, like spirit is above matter. We're focused on something spiritual, That Srila Sridhar Maharshi commented in one place, like that's their best qualification, that they're concerned with the world of spirit, beyond matter.
yeah, beyond the physical.
Yeah, beyond the physical, yeah. So
in consciousness.
yes, yeah. So that's not necessarily Mayavad, no.
It's not.
No, Mayavadi is much more like fixed on this idea of an impersonal absolute, and also that more seriously that we are that.
Oh yeah.
That's the main point about Mayavadis. There's also Brahmavadis, and that's also more innocent. They're worshipping Brahman and thinking Brahman is the highest thing, but they're not thinking we are that.
So the Brahmavadis are in this group that you are explaining?
I mean, there's so many different groups, and they all have some particular variation. So I can't really, comment, I'm not qualified. But that's one group, the Brahmavadis. And maybe in a general sense, you could say most Brahmins in the Varnashram system have that approach, but I can't start putting labels on things because I don't know enough. Shadayukta Vayaiha Shunaje Jan Achire Miloye Tade Gopal Charan. One who hears this narration of Lord Gopal with faith and love very soon attains the lotus feet of Lord Gopal. Oh, I remember, I think it was one of the talks that Chinmoy uploaded. Yeah, and he was talking about, he was talking about, now I remember, how Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he really wanted a Brahmin successor. That was like one of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's criteria, that he wanted a Brahmin boy, because there's a particular samskar there, there's a particular nature that comes along with that, which would be suited to that position of an acharya. So it's quite interesting, actually, because Srila Saraswati Thakur wasn't a Brahmin, So, of course, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's a Paramahamsa Vaishnava. He knows that this is beyond, these, birth designations of birth. But at the same time, for that role of an acharya, he preferred to have a Brahmin to fulfill that role. So that's also an interesting point. Yeah, I think just because our culture and world is so different, it's a little difficult to really identify with and understand and place all these things, it's a little mysterious to me. But Gurudev, I'll say this, I won't say the name, but probably people can guess. But he was like, Hasapriya Prabhu told me this last year, I think it was, when I was in Sokhel, or maybe the year before, that when Srila Gurudev was considering who should be his successor, he was considering, a number of different persons. And at one time, he mentioned one person, and I won't say the name, but someone who's a Brahmin. And he said, maybe I should choose so-and-so, because they're a Brahmin, and Krishna likes the Brahmins. Like, and I asked Hasri, like, he was serious? He was serious. Krishna likes the Brahmin, so maybe I should choose this person, because he's a Brahmin. So yeah, it is all a little mysterious to me. Then there's also those Brahmins in Vrindavan who won't give Krishna food when he's hungry.
Who won't really?
You know that story when they're performing this big sacrifice and then Krishna's hungry and
first the ceremony.
Yeah, first they're very fixed on checking all their boxes, finishing their ritual, and when the Lord himself comes and asks for some food, they're too busy, So, yeah, I mean, I need to hear more about this Krishna liking the Brahmins in order to understand him better. There's Manu Manga, who's kind of like a joker. Manu Manga makes like funny armpit sounds. He's the Brahmin that we hear about, who Krishna's friends with. So I don't know other Brahmins who are friendly with Krishna. The Pandavas are Kshatriyas, right? So, and they're very close with Krishna. And then, yeah, I don't know. We have to find out more about this.
Most importantly, I think the Lord is bound by the love of his devotees.
Yes.
No matter what designation they have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe this is all like some transcendental joke or something. I'm suspecting. I read that.
And we hear also Krishna likes breaking the rules, right?
Yes.
Like when somebody breaks the rules, he loves that.
Yes.
Out of love.
Yeah.
It's better even.
Yes. He has many different moods and aspects,
I think that like Srila Gurudev, we mold the devotees to have good qualities that are, befitting good servitor, right?
Yeah, I mean, for our spiritual practice, we are cultivating Brahminical qualities, actually, like basically sattvic qualities, because they're all supporting our spiritual culture.
With the Gayatri mantra, we a little push to do Brahminical behavior, right?
I mean, deity worship, that's a Brahmin activity, serving the deity. And all these things, cleanliness and waking up early, these are all Brahminical style things, so they're supporting spiritual culture. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Jarash Chaitanya Charitamrita Koye Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rup and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Okay, so we can stop there for today. And tomorrow we come to chapter 6, the liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. I was remembering how this was reminding me the case of Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, who, Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami, he was such a great great devotee and, you know, great preacher in the mission of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And very, you know, he was close with, I mean, I cannot say how close, but he had a close relationship. He had a deep bond with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he was one of the godbrothers who really helped. He took a sannyas from Srila Sridhar Maharaj, first of all, and you know, let's say he was very devoted to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he helped the Mat, you know, when the Mat was in trouble financially, he helped, and he would help Gurudev with his collection and so on and so forth. But what's interesting is I mean, in regards to what we're discussing, is that he was born in a very high lineage, Nityananda Vamsha. It's like a line of Nityananda Prabhu. And so like socially speaking, he was very highly situated. And but I mean, really, these people, they actually have normally like a very materialistic idea, because there's some, I think it's like the actual bloodline of Nityananda Prabhu. But it's some lineage descending from Nityananda Prabhu. And so normally these people have a very materialistic idea, you know, that because of our birth, we're superior to others. And so really this was like one of the groups who Saraswati Thakur was battling against, you know, that, you know, devotional qualification is not based on birth or bloodline or anything like that, you know. But you know, that's so they conceived of themselves generally, and also within society they were revered, you know, because of their, you know, that line, that you know, lineage.
And also, you said Saraswati Thakur is not coming from the Brahminical line.
No.
There was also like a consideration, like not a consideration, but that was like...
Well, it was something that gave a boost to the society.
Yeah.
Having someone like that.
So if you consider that he who has you know, established how the Gaudiya Vaishnava line will be, you know, become giving the conduct to that, and he is not from a Brahminical lineage,
Yeah.
then you can see that it's not of the utmost importance.
Of course.
To be in a Brahminical.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So he came from this like high lineage, and you know, like in the line of Nityananda Prabhu. And so in the world, like generally that was seen, in society that was generally seen as like a high thing. But from the perspective of the Gaudiya Mat, that was the material qualification. So then what's so wonderful is that then Srila Saraswati Thakur, he gave him the title of Prakrita. And this is like, I mean, personally, I find this to be extremely humorous, you know, so Saraswati Thakur called him a Prakrita Bhakti Saranga Goswami. That was his, what was his name before sannyas? I mean, probably his line was, they were Goswamis. Anyhow, he gave him the title of Prakrita, right? So a Prakrita means what appears to be mundane, but it's not. You understand? Like it's like a real poke, like these, like, you know, jati gosais, you know, people who see things based on birth, you know, that it's a poke to those people, you know, like, you know, he appears to be mundane because of his connections, but actually, like, he is that, like, he's actually of a spiritual nature, like he actually has connection with Nityananda Prabhu, like not just in a material sense. And interestingly, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he made a comment how, and I think he said it was Saraswati Thakur's comment originally, that he observed in him like some mood there, like he had an authentic mood, like connected with Nityananda Prabhu. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj, because of that, he requested Goswami Maharaj to establish a temple. And it was part of like a general thing that Srila Sridhar Maharaj was trying to establish, that he wanted Mayapur to be a very, like a very dignified place. Srila Saraswati Thakur established the Chaitanya Mat there. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj, his idea was that the whole of Maya, like what you see in Mayapur today, that was Srila Sridhar Maharaj's idea. Like he requested so he thought all of the prominent disciples of my Guru Maharaj, they should have a temple here. And so he like requested many of them, and even in some cases like bought the land for them, and then they'd give the money back. So this was like Srila Sridhar Maharaj's vision, what you're seeing today in Mayapur. And so that place of Goswami Maharaj's Mat now in Mayapur, that's actually where the meeting, it's a Nandanacharya Bhavan, which was the meeting place of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, the place where they met for the very first time. Because of, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj like especially wanted that Goswami Maharaj would have that place, because, not because of his birth, but because he actually had like a spiritual connection with Nityananda Prabhu. So there's so many layers of understanding, So then like we also hear this expression of Prakrita Brahmins, that there are Brahmins who have spiritual nature, or Vaishnava, or whatever word we want to use. Don't be fooled by their material appearance as Brahmins. This is a spiritual expression of that. There's that, this is going a little off topic, but related to the Brahmin discussion, there's that wonderful story we heard of Srila Saraswati Thakur when he attended some conference, and it was like a 3-day thing, and every day he had some slot to speak, and so for the first maybe it was like 4 days or something like that, I'm not sure. But anyhow, for the first half of his time there, his topic was Brahmins and Vaishnavas. And so for the first half of his time there, he was speaking on the glories of the Brahmins, from scripture. And there were so many Brahmins there, and so they all like fell in love with this, and they were very happy. and then after that, then Saraswati Thakur spent the second half of his time glorifying the Vaishnavas, and how they're even higher than the Brahmins. And there, it's actually published. I would like to read it one day, but what I heard from Ch.Ch. Maharaj, the gist of it all was that Brahmins, they're the highest members of this world. They're the most elevated in this world. But the Vaishnavas, they're beyond this world. They have a position in a world higher than this world. So yes, the Brahmins are so great, and they're this and they're that, but the Vaishnavas, they're even higher.
Is it maybe because what you explain also about the lineage of Nityananda, that there is this pride that comes in because you're a Brahmana, you're so high in this world, that the pride, you know,
Sure.
spoils it a little.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah.
Miss the point, actually.
Yeah.
Because what you say, there's so many waves and so many contradictions maybe, and that is only possible if so your humility is very deep, right? Otherwise you will come to a point that you say, I cannot understand. The mercy cannot come for you to be able to understand it, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what you're speaking in connection with there. Yeah. I mean, what you're saying sounds right, for sure. I was just going to finish. I'll just finish with this this incident that took place. So then Saraswati Thakur, he concluded by glorifying the Vaishnavas, and then the whole assembly became mad, you know, because they felt like, oh, Vaishnavas are so exalted, even higher than Brahmins, and here's a Vaishnava in front of us, and so they went mad. Trying to get his foot dust, because he, you know, saying the glories of the foot dust, the foot water of the Vaishnava, and so they went mad. And all these Brahmins started coming to take his foot dust. You know?
And they became Vaishnavas?
I hope so. I'm sure they got a lot of sukriti.
Yeah. In that time that was there, and all these assemblies and the pure devotee like Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj, and all the disciples of Saraswati Thakur preaching, and so many, you know, brahmanas or people who are aspiring to learn more spiritual.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to go back to what you're saying, I mean, the Brahminical position, the best it can serve is as a platform, because you need to be in connection with the ideal, you know. So you could be humble, you could have all these good qualities, but to what, you know? You have to have the fortune of coming in connection with the ideal.
Yeah.
So I mean, at best, you know, a Brahmin can be like a good starting point, a very good starting point for devotional culture, you know.
And that happened in that conference, what you were just
Right.
speaking about.
Mm-hmm.